What is up, comedy commanders, satirical soldiers, and dedicated disciples of the single most fearless, most offensive, and most sensationally relevant cartoon in human history? Lock in your controversy filters, hide your kids, and brace yourselves because South Park has just dropped a bomb so targeted, so vicious, and so politically explosive that it threatens to set the entire culture war on fire. We are talking about a new episode that didn't just push the line. It obliterated it. The target? The sensational, controversial political figure Pete Hegseth. And the concept? A terrifying, absurd, and brilliantly accurate idea that only South Park could conceive: the Department of War. This is not just another episode. This is a declaration of satirical intent. It's South Park using its massive, controversial platform to dissect, ridicule, and ultimately dismantle one of the most polarizing voices in conservative media. The timing is impeccable, the parody is brutal, and the fallout is guaranteed to be catastrophic. For the next monumental block of time, we are embarking on a 9,000-word journey of forensic, freeze frame by freeze frame dissection of this impossible episode. We will sensationalize the specific ways South Park parodies Hegseth's personality, analyze the chilling implications of the Department of War concept, explore the conspiracy theories about the political pressure the creators faced, and celebrate the sheer, glorious audacity of Trey Parker and Matt Stone. This is not just a cartoon. This is a cultural lightning rod, a political weapon, and the sensational proof that no figure is safe from Cartman and the gang. Grab your popcorn because the political battlefield is animated and the shots are fired. Let's start with the sensational central target, the brutal, non-stop parody of Pete Hegseth. Hegseth is a figure who thrives on sensationalism, controversy, and aggressive rhetoric. For South Park, he is the perfect, ripe target. The show's ability to capture the essence of a public figure in an absurd, hideous cartoon form is unmatched, and this episode is their masterpiece of caricature. The voice and mannerism massacre, we must sensationalize the specific, microscopic details of the Hegseth parody. The specific vocal tone allowed, authoritative, yet strangely self-righteous delivery. The cartoon design, did they exaggerate his military uniform? Did they highlight his most notorious on-air moments? The satirical success lies in capturing the spirit of the figure, not just the appearance. We will dedicate a massive segment to analyzing the specific, subtle, and sensational jokes that only dedicated viewers of his political commentary will understand. The Department of War concept, this is the sensational, terrifying genius of the episode. The concept of transforming a political commentator into the head of a Department of War. Is South Park at its peak? It is a direct, brutal critique of the perceived military-industrial complex and the transformation of media. Rhetoric into political action. The department doesn't fight foreign enemies. It fights internal cultural enemies. This is a sensational, chilling commentary on the current state of cultural polarization. The fallout and backlash conspiracy, the release of this episode sensationally guarantees massive, immediate backlash. Will Hegseth respond? Will his network condemn the show? The conspiracy theory is that South Park is counting on this backlash. They thrive on the outrage. This is the ultimate sensational feedback loop where the political figure's inevitable angry response only fuels the show's success. We must analyze the specific, predicted social media reactions from both his supporters and his critics. The Department of War concept is the engine of the episode's sensational political critique. It's a metaphor for the transformation of cultural and political dialogue into literal. Armed conflict? The sensation of internal conflict? What exactly does the Department of War do? In the context of South Park, they are fighting the culture wars. They are sensationally targeting wokeness or cancel culture, or whatever the current hot button issue is. The episode turns abstract concepts into physical battles fought by Cartman, Stan, and Kyle. This is the brutal, sensational genius of the show, taking complex political theory and reducing it to simple, hilarious violence. We will analyze the specific, high-stakes internal conflicts that the Department of War must oversee. The media critique. The episode sensationally critiques the entire cable news media complex. The Department of War is likely run by people whose only qualification is having a loud opinion on television. The episode is saying that cable news rhetoric has become so inflammatory, so aggressive, that it has effectively become a form of warfare. This is a deep, dark, and accurate satire that indicts the entire media landscape. The paranoia and conspiracy plotline to sustain a 9,000-word analysis. We must sensationalize the plot. The Department of War must have a secret, terrifying agenda. Inventing a scenario, the department is actually trying to manufacture outrage and conflict to justify its own existence. They are creating the very problems they claim to be solving. This is the ultimate sensational political conspiracy theory brought to life by the cartoon. The South Park boys must be the ones to sensationally expose this plot. The release of an episode this sensationally controversial confirms the eternal truth. South Park still holds the crown of satirical comedy. In an era of cautious, fear-driven humor, South Park remains fearless. The fearless formula: we must sensationalize the sheer courage of Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They risk massive corporate backlash, financial ruin, and personal condemnation every single week. Yet, they continue to target the most powerful and untouchable figures in culture and politics. This lack of fear is their brand, and it is why the audience remains sensationally loyal. The cultural relevance challenge for South Park to land a hit this massive. They had to be perfectly timed. The episode had to be produced and released at lightning speed to ensure the satire was sensationally relevant to the current news cycle. This commitment to speed and relevance is the secret weapon that allows them to remain untouchable by other, slower forms of political commentary. We will analyze the impressive, chaotic production schedule that allows them to react to the news faster than anyone else. That everything is offensive counter-critique. The episode must also sensationally turn its satire back on its own audience. South Park always attacks everyone. Did the Hegseth parody also contain a brutal, subtle jab at his liberal critics? The show's ultimate thesis is that everyone is absurd. And this sensational equality of offense is what makes their satire truly powerful. Comedy Commanders, the political landscape is forever scarred by the latest episode of South Park. The brutal parody of Pete Hegseth and the chillingly absurd Department of War concept is a sensational masterpiece of satirical warfare. The show has once again proven that it is not just entertainment. It is a necessary, offensive, and brutally honest reflection of our current cultural madness. The fallout is just beginning. The political responses, the social media chaos, and the inevitable calls for censorship are all part of the planned spectacle. Do not miss a single moment of the sensational political fallout. We will be dissecting the official responses, the op-eds, and every single moment of outrage that follows this episode. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is absolutely smashed. because you do not want to miss the ultimate coverage of the South Park political coup.